How's it going, guys? Music fan here. How you guys doing? Sorry, my throat's getting a little bit meh. Anyway, we're gonna go on a very quick track review of the new Radiohead song called "Burn the Witch." Was released to social media yesterday on the 3rd of May, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit for this video. So, Radiohead pioneers in the alternative rock genre. You really don't need at this point an introduction to them. Everyone knows who Radiohead is. They have been boundary pushers in alternative rock music for the last ever since the 90s, really, like the last decade and a half, literally, if I'm not mistaken, at least. And yeah, like this song "Burn the Witch," I think, for me personally, I think has captivated my interest in Radiohead for the first time in a while, in a very long while. And I say that because I have a very deep admiration and a very deep respect for the band's more experimental work. I mean, they originally started as a very simple rock band in the 90s during the whole grunge movement. I mean, Creep was the big hit at that time. Then they started to progress into a more experimental approach. I mean, with OK Computer, personally one of my favorite albums ever. They came to the pinnacle of that, and then starting with 2000's Kid A, they drifted completely away from that format and began to experiment immensely. And apart from 2003's Hail to the Thief, they never really went back that far into that very basic sound that they started off with. I mean, they went off in very different directions and took the band in a lot of different weird places, with albums like Amnesiac and The King of Limbs, just to name a few. And yeah, I mean, so they've been heavily touted as a very genre-pushing band that refuses to stay in the conventions of whatever limitations they find themselves in. They keep on pushing and experimenting. And now, it has to be understood that at points, some of Radiohead's songs can be so heavily experimental to the point where sometimes they seem very unapproachable. I mean, like, even though I heard the track "The Lotus Flower" with the music video with Tom York dancing and stuff, which I thought was cool, none of the rest of the songs really captivated me all that much. And sometimes while I have a deep respect for their experimental approach and their fearless pushing of the genre, at times it would come out to be very, almost too experimental, to the point of being unapproachable and unable to just become very intimate with the song. This song, however, Burn the Witch, has changed that for me immensely. When you first hear the song, it almost sounds as if it was going to be very basic and very generic. It kind of starts off with these very fast picking viola strings in the beginning. You then get the presence of I think it's Colin Greenwood's bass guitar following the viola picking, and then Tom York and his signature singing in this particular song, especially that crooning that he does in the choruses in this song. And now it sounds very rhythmic. When you hear the track, it sounds super dancey and super rhythmic, not in a big EDM kind of way. Again, you have the viola strings being picked in such a rhythmic way. I think it's like a hi-hat or something, or some cymbal thing that really pushes the song forward. And all this put together, and then you get these very intense orchestrated strings going around everywhere, and to the point where it just starts to build and build, and then it cuts off at a point. And the main thing I say of why this is unique is because on paper it sounds so basic. Yet, despite being so basic, there's so much depth and experimentation that is just swirling in around it, like so many things going on at once. I mean, you have the strings, Tom York singing, all this different stuff going on, and I think you put two and two together, and it comes out to be a very awesome, amazing song. I really mean that. Like, I mean, I haven't been this captivated by a Radiohead song in a long while, like a really long time. Again, I have a deep respect, deep admiration for the band's more heavier experimental material, but sometimes, if I may be honest, sometimes will be too much experimentation to the point where I can't approach it. This song, I feel, really changes all that completely, and I'm really liking this track immensely. Like, this track is just marries both worlds at once, the basic and the experimentally complex, at least in my opinion. As for the music video, I mean, I'll leave a link on the D-Box below just for you guys to check out. It seems kind of like a variation of Nicolas Cage's The Wicker Man. I don't know why. And I think, even though I don't have a particular idea of what the song could be about lyrically, I think the music video can offer some clues or something of that nature. Other than that, I think if I were to give a rating to this song, I'd probably give it screw it. I'd probably give it a 5. It's really that good, at least for me it is. This track is just so rhythmic and almost dancey in a way, and yet it doesn't devolve into this very generic dance tune with like full EDM blast or anything of the sort. Instead, it's an accessible track that progresses into this very dark and haunting string section, obviously from Johnny Greenwood, at the helm of that particular orchestra, and the results, I think, are just simply fantastic. I mean, this is an experimental song still, which in of itself is not that new to Radiohead, and yet it sounds so accessible. It's just only like 3 minutes or something. But either way, this track, I think, really has me captivated for where Radiohead might go next with the album, their 9th studio album. I don't have a release date yet, but as soon as it comes out, I definitely will review it. And that's it. That's all my thoughts I have on Burn the Witch. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and see you guys later. Mr. Music Fan, Radiohead. Take care.